Why does everybody say bro now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Whoa, bro. Bruh. Slow it down. Bruh. Speed it up. Bah. Man, I really need to get a soundboard.
You got nature's soundboard.
Yeah. Oh, man.
Remember the cable guy?
To be loud. Oh, we're going to get copyright struck. Welcome back to movie chat, movie talk with Ben and Emil. We've got a special guest on the ones and twos behind the camera. His name is Dylan, everybody. He's back there. Dylan, you can just shout real loud.
He's hitting sounds.
So the mics pick it up. I hope you guys heard that. He went, Nadab! We got a veritable banger of an episode. It's they're saying it's classic style because we are talking all about. Man, I'm so excited for this, actually. I'm going to be geeking out hardcore this episode.
He's going to be geeking out. He's geeking out. Everyone give him some space.
I styled my hair in the style of Vlad Tenev in honor of him.
You do have kind of a Vlad going on.
I put in some leave-in conditioner in my hair because I've had it there, and my guy who cuts my hair always tells me I need to do that because my hair do be getting dry sometimes.
And it's helping with the dandruff.
No, nothing helps with the dandruff, actually.
Do you have folliculitis? Isn't that a thing?
I don't think so. Folliculitis. I don't think I do. Folliculitis is a common skin condition where hair follicles become inflamed. No, definitely. I definitely don't have that.
Don't get it twisted. He does not have folliculitis.
Don't get it twisted. It's classic
dandruff.
It's classic style dandruff. But anyway, Robinhood.
Selsun Blue.
I know. Never wear black without the blue. Buddy, I've tried Selsun Blue. I've tried next.
No, the like famous one. Maybe it is Head and Shoulders. Yeah.
Were you gonna say PT something?
Maybe
PT
I'm thinking
Cruiser?
of Pantene Pro V, but that's not a dandruff.
I
one.
swear to God, it was just like one time 5-6 years ago. I was out of shampoo and I tried my roommate's at the time, and it was like Suave shit. And ever since then, my hair
that gave you dandruff.
It's just ever since then I've just had it won't go away. It's crazy.
It can't be the Suave.
I mean, sometimes that stuff really messes up your hair microbiome. I'm tired of the microbiomes. I'm tired of them. They got one in my gut. They got it all over my skin.
Well, if you're out there, stay away from Suave. You see Suave, you ran out of shampoo, don't touch it.
Run in the other direction.
Yeah.
Just use water. I pray to God for you. Anyway, we're talking about Robinhood because Robinhood launched some crazy stuff that's kind of changing everything.
They're inventing a new stock market.
They invented a new stock market.
It's going to be sick.
And everybody's on it except for you.
Well, everybody in Europe.
Everybody's
you know how
allowed.
everybody's in Europe this summer and you're just watching from Instagram? Well, now they're all trading private companies too. You get to do nothing fun.
You get to do nothing. But there's some catches. I read some fine print last night as I was nerding out, and it's not everything is as it seems. And then we're also going to be talking about Cluely, which is also something that I came to really love the more I was reading about it.
The sequel to the 1980s movie Clue.
That's from the 80s?
I don't know. I would guess.
Wow. Is John Candy in that?
I don't know.
John Candy? No, I think it's Steve Martin.
1985, Clue, the movie.
Who's in it? John Cleese.
I'm not seeing a John. I'm seeing Madeline Kahn, Tim Curry, Colleen Camp, Leslie Ann Warren, Michael McKean.
Michael McKean. And then rounding out the episode, we're going to be talking about Spotify's AI band.
Everybody's favorite new band.
Everybody's favorite new band. You've been talking about them nonstop.
I have all their T-shirts and albums, and I'm kind of their biggest fan.
Though
I did go to the concert and no one showed up.
That's very good. It was just a robot up there. Oh wait, no, that wouldn't make sense because the pictures are of actual guys. Yeah. And then, if there's time, I'm gonna talk a little bit about my experience using Claude AI for therapy.
Spoiler alert: it fixed them.
It fixed me, and maybe you know what? Maybe I can ask it to help me with my dandruff. That's not a bad idea.
I mean, if you're asking it about your personal life. It can't hurt to be like. I mean, that seems like the least.
By the way, also I've got some pretty bad data. Can you help me with that? Dylan, can I blow up your spot real fast with what you just told me about the CPAP?
Yes.
Okay, so Dylan has what's called sleep apnea, and he was telling me before the show that he talks to ChatGPT and gave it a whole bunch of data from his CPAP machine, and it suggested a whole new set of settings that are way better.
Wow.
And yeah. And then in the bonus, we got a good bonus episode. It's going to be Hardy talking about Liver King going full schizo mode. There's a new restaurant that's
There's
got
a new restaurant.
fun name. And the fucking Idaho sniper kid.
I was also doing some more.
wait.
I was doing some more eavesdropping through texts, which is I'm kind of addicted to it. I always loved eavesdropping, but
What are you talking about? Eavesdropping on who? Me?
what?
Eavesdropping on text. What are you talking about?
Like, remember that story I told where I was sitting next to the lady on the plane,
Oh,
like
yeah, you've
reading
got
all her
another?
text messages? Yeah.
You've got another?
Yeah.
Ooh, who did you eavesdrop on? Tease us. BenandEmilShow.com.
This
Free
guy who
7-day
sat
trial.
this guy who sat next to us at dinner, and it was really it's they got to come up with some kind of word for it, but I don't do it to your
Eavesdropping.
friends, but to strangers.
It's game. It's all game.
People are their most real self on there. They're just the funniest thing too was the guy next. Well,
BenandEmilShow.com.
I can't.
Sign up for a free 7-day trial. It's everything that you want and more. So let's dive right in. Robinhood. We had them on. We had Vlad Tenev on the show.
Friend of the
famously.
show. Friend of the show.
Our first interview. He was a very good
No,
sport.
that wasn't our first interview.
You're right.
The first-
Graham Stephan was our first interview.
Yeah.
Yeah, our first and still the smallest. It's okay. He's not gonna see. He's not gonna see or hear that.
That was our weirdest one.
Yeah, that was definitely so weird. He walked in, he looked up at us, and he was like, "What am I doing here?"
Well, we didn't even know who the guy.
Yeah,
Whatever,
we
I
didn't
can't
know
get
who
it.
he was, and he didn't know.
I felt duped.
Yeah, he
We
didn't
said,
know.
"Who do you want us to have on the show?" And everyone voted for Graham Stephan. And we were like, "Okay, I guess this is their favorite guy in the
Yeah.
world." And we just we're like, "Cool. What's your life like?" And everyone was like, "Why weren't you mean to him?" It's like,
Yeah, you guys wanted us to have him on, and he famously he didn't know who we were. And
it was terrible.
Yeah, it was terrible. But he was also a good
A
sport.
nice guy.
A nice guy. But yeah, Vlad was very nice, and
the best sport maybe that.
yeah, truly. And like at the time, the stock. Let me pull up the stock was at it was right around all-time lows. I'm looking. I think it was around $8 a share.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
And I famously told him, like, "Hey man, why don't you just quit? Why don't you just stop?"
Yeah, you ended it. Said it would be the best thing he could do for the company.
It would be the best thing he could do, not only for the company, but for himself and his family, so that he would no longer be taking all of this hate all the time. He could just step back, retire, walk into the sunset. And boy, was I wrong. And boy,
Wouldn't it be cool if he did all this to spite you?
I
You're
mean,
like-
that would be the most powerful. That would make me, somewhat like astonished. Like, damn, I created so much wealth from spite.
You're like Trump's White House Correspondents' Dinner Barack Obama moment.
Ooh, yeah. And
For
Vlad was
Vlad.
just like, well, fuck you. Actually, he was so nice.
So nice.
Like, I'm not gay, but he's definitely
Hang
one of
on.
those guys. He's definitely one of those guys where I'm like, there's just something about you that's just such a cozy. Like, I just want to hug you, man.
Interesting.
I don't know why. Maybe he reminds me of something or someone.
You do this a lot where you caveat, like, I'm
Yeah.
not gay, but man, would I suck the shit out of that guy.
Yeah, well, because I'm not gay, but anyway, they did a really cool presentation for this. By the way, this is not sponsored whatsoever. I don't
Yeah.
own. I regrettably don't own any fucking shares of Robinhood.
It is also
anymore.
funny to call it really cool. It opens with, like, it's like a.
It's him ripping through the Riviera.
It's
French
definitely not
Riviera.
him.
You don't think? Oh, let's play.
know what- you know
why
what
don't
it is?
Dylan, can you play just
There's
the beginning
so
of it?
many cuts of, like, okay, look, here's the wheel, and here's the
Yeah.
steering wheel, and here's the.
Yeah, here we
And here's
go.
the road, and here's the.
That
If
looks
it-
like a Cadillac or something too.
No, it's got to be some Euro.
Oh, I mean, for sure, it's some European. I think it's a Jaguar. Yeah, that looks like
and the briefcase. The briefcase comes back.
that's an old Jag. Yeah, yeah, that's definitely not him.
I mean, I think just for liability stuff, they're not letting their CEO
Yeah, but he's worth like $5 billion.
rip it in a Jag.
But then he does pull up in it. Come on, wow. What
Oh, I'm sure he.
For the audio listener, it's just a beautiful old Jaguar like 60s model, turning and burning around corners and stuff on the French countryside. You're not missing anything, I assure you.
And it's just a little goofy.
Yeah, they're in Cannes apparently.
Yeah.
It is very goofy. When are they gonna fucking show him? Jesus Christ.
I don't think it's him. Vlad, if you did do all this driving, I apologize.
I definitely. Well, that's him right there. There he is. Yeah, wow. That's him right there. Maybe they just had him do the last quarter of a mile.
But I'll tell you what.
All right, we can cut now.
Brad Pitt does not rip that Shelby out of the neighborhood in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
No.
But you do see his face in the car.
No.
Moving-
Wait, Shelby. He's driving a Carmangia.
Oh, is he?
Yeah.
Whatever.
You're
it is.
thinking of the guy who plays the Predator director.
Predator?
Yeah. He's like an auteur, but a predator. What's his name? Roman Polanski.
I'm a Predator.
Yeah.
Excuse me, I'm a Predator.
I'm a Predator. We've created a new genre. So yeah,
he's refined about his sex pests.
Yeah, it was super cheesy, and there's so. I mean, we'll play some of them in a moment.
The suit is incredible. The
suit is incredible.
The pinstripes with
He's wearing an
the
ascot.
ascot. It's all.
There are so many dry jokes between him, the head of crypto, and I forgot what her title is, like head of design or operations or something.
Yeah, he's incredibly dry. I mean,
but it's like funny and charming. It works for me.
He does. I will say because we had a little bit of an interaction with him through StockTwit stuff. It is funny. We probably saw him at his lowest point. He does seem so much,
dude,
happier. I don't know what, like lighter.
Because all the GameStop dorks are out of the. There are still people I was seeing.
And I mean, his net worth probably 10x.
His net worth absolutely 10x. Vlad Tenev net worth. He's now worth $4.6 billion. God, he's 38 years old, worth $4.6 billion. Oh, man.
Wow, he's 30. For some reason, I would think he's older, but that's probably just because he's got $5 billion.
And he's from Bulgaria, born in Bulgaria. And yeah, like I have in my notes here, Vlad looks so. I have in my notes, folks. Vlad looked so good with 2 exclamation points.
He does look better.
He looks so.
But
happy.
also his like general presence.
Oh yeah.
Everything he seems a lot.
Because I think that the company, and I wonder how much of this shit was in their pipeline when he came on the show. They didn't have the credit card yet.
They didn't have. I mean, they had just launched
anything.
crypto. Like really, it was like. I think really early days of that.
Yeah. Because now that I'm looking at the company, I'm like, oh, holy fucking shit. There are so many things now rolled into one. They're no longer just on the app. They've got a desktop version for trading. They've got their various credit cards. In fact, one of the things that they announced is cashback credit cards for you get, instead of getting cash back in dollars, you can get it in whatever denomination of crypto, Bitcoin, Ethereum, whatever.
Yeah, he was talking about how everyone loves it. 3% cash back on everything.
Dude. And they're just it's I like to geek out about this stuff because I just love to see. I just like it when companies are smart about execution and they're just doing it really, really.
I do also think it's a bit of the like environment has changed very nicely for that. Not changed. It did seem like this was all on a downtrend, right? The whole like crypto, NFT, everything, and it all kind of rocketed back in like a huge way where this new, the poly market, Kalshi, all this stuff, just wanting to commodify everything, trade everything, tokenize everything is like very good for them.
Oh yeah. And they're now one of the most coveted stocks out there. I mean, the volume, the money that's flowing into the stock is tremendous, both from like retail traders and now institutions. But so they announced a bunch of features, and we'll talk about the tokenization stuff because that's a big part of this. So it was mainly for the EU. That's why they were doing it on the French Riviera.
I think it's only for the EU. It's not
some of this. I mean, they did announce some stuff for the Americans, but So now they're suddenly live. Robinhood crypto is live across 31 countries, whereas before I believe it was only 6. And they announced a couple features. I'm going to just get them out of the way. One of them is perpetual futures, which I had never heard of. I mean, I did, but I didn't know that they were called that. And I guess the shorthand is perps. They call them perps.
So what's a perpetual future?
It's just whereas normal futures has an expiration date. So like I'm guessing that the price of Bitcoin will be 105,000 by October.
Right. Now you can just hang on to it.
You can just hang on to it indefinitely. Think of it as a way to short or go long the underlying crypto without buying it outright, and you can use leverage. So you can basically bet on where the puck is going, if I'm going to use like a hockey analogy, or where the baseball is going.
But on a long enough timeline, can you just hold on to that? And
well, because if you're using leverage,
especially
you're going to have
Bitcoin.
Well, but so if you are using leverage, you do have to put up collateral. So if it starts to move against you, you're going to be fucked.
Right.
For those of you who don't know, they had just acquired this company called Bitstamp, and it enables them to do all of that. They don't have that yet in the United States, but I mean, geez Louise, to be able to I would never touch that shit. I would never. I couldn't.
A lot of this stuff, I mean, we'll get into it, but because this isn't even some of the craziest stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
But here, let's.
But they're like, that's the thing. All this is just like inventing new ways to gamble, I guess.
Yeah.
And this is the economy now.
Let's play this around 1708 here. This is one of their features, but it also has one of the jokes that I thought was fun to highlight.
Another feature. Starting now, Robinhood is the only major platform in the US where you can choose exactly which specific crypto holding you're selling when you're trading, allowing you greater management of your capital gains and losses. Profit is really only profit after you pay your taxes, so having this ability is really going to be useful.
For those of you with paper hands like Johan here, this is going to be especially helpful.
He's just harvesting his losses.
His smile after?
That's what I love. It's like they're unapologetic in their presentation of this shit. But I actually really like that because let's say for you, Emil, you've bought multiple lots of Bitcoin. So let's say you bought one in January and then you bought one in March. And then in September, when you go to sell one of those, this now gives you the option of picking which one you sell.
Right.
So, well, actually, a better example would be if you waited the full year into next January.
So if I wanted
could
to take less profit, I could.
You could pick to sell that January one, thus locking in the long-term tax rate versus selling the the one that you'd bought in March. It's just a great little. It's such a simple thing, but it's very rare to find that. I haven't seen that anywhere else. Yeah, they announced for United States people the credit cards and staking. You can now do the thing where you collect yield. I don't understand how that shit works still. I think it's because the model for Ethereum is proof of stake. So if you hold your Ethereum, you're participating in the network. In that participation, you get to earn a small amount of the fees that flow through the network, is my understanding of it. Okay, so then the big thing was tokenization that got launched in the EU. And they are, the first part was stock tokens. So prior to this, if you're European, first of all, congratulations. Have a cigarette outside at 2 p.m.
And a glass of wine.
And a glass of wine. Enjoy yourself. European customers prior to this, they still can't. You can't buy U.S. stocks and ETFs outright. There are all sorts of, you could, but you've got to set up everything. There's tax shit. It's just a nightmare to be able to buy and sell, to trade freely American stocks and ETFs. So what they did is they tokenized it.
It's all on chain now, baby.
And so just a quick primer. Tokenization is the process of creating, this is from Robinhood's own literature on this. They've been talking about tokenization and advocating for it for a long time. Tokenization is the process of creating a unique digital and anonymous representation of an asset. So just think of it like whereas you can buy a stock, it's just a digital sort of clone proxy for it. And
It's like an NFT of a stock.
yeah, kind of. And what I really liked about this whole presentation, before we get a little bit more into it, is Vlad was talking about how the adoption of crypto tech has always just been like talked about and always promised is just around the corner and stuff. And he was like, we're tired of hearing about that. So we're kind of just, someone's got to take the initiative and actually start to implement this technology and provide it with actual like use cases.
The technology of tokenization.
Of like blockchain and crypto stuff. And I struggled with that for a long time.
Because I thought it was more of a regulatory issue that they weren't allowed to like, because that's why it's not allowed in the United States.
The tokenization?
Yeah, I thought
Yes.
the tech was like, we can do this, but regulatorily we're just like.
It's both. I think it's, I mean, for the last few years, there's all this talk about how like blockchain and blah, 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 blah. And I keep trying to wrap my mind around, well, what is that going to look like? Like, how am I going to be able to use that in some kind of practical way? Because every time I try to understand it, I can't understand it.
Oh,
And
I mean, we haven't even talked about the SpaceX and the OpenAI of it all, but I'm just like, I think I understand it, but I'm just like, what are you talking about?
What I realized is it doesn't matter. It would be like trying to understand the internet before using it. We don't really fully understand how the internet, I mean, we do. It's like a network of computers and shit. But for the most part, we just use it and trust that it works, right? And from what I'm gathering with this and the way
but with
that
the internet, I like, it's not like, they're not asking me to buy things that I don't understand.
Sure.
They're saying like, use email. It's a program where you can send and receive messages. And I'm like, great. I don't need to know how it goes through the cables or whatever.
Right.
But if they're like, buy this product, it's a representation of another product. I'm like, what are you talking about?
Well, what I'm saying is with this is a first step to, even though it's, in this case, it's buying and selling of like assets. I think it's representative of a big first step toward more implementing things on the blockchain.
Oh, I think that's definitely true. I mean, I heard him talking and he was like, we want to tokenize everything.
Yeah.
He said carbon credits. I mean,
art. Which still is like, I don't fully understand that, but.
And because we've already talked about it a little bit, but the OpenAI and SpaceX thing we're talking about is that they are offering to EU residents only, EU,
something stinks.
This was the most confusing thing to me because he was saying you can now be a part of owning these companies that have not gone public, like OpenAI and SpaceX. And we were like on the phone trying to figure it out because is SpaceX offering?
Yeah.
I think, I mean, maybe like, did Robinhood buy a stake in it and now is offering you to
great question,
take part in that?
So because
at first I thought SpaceX was saying like but SpaceX seems to have no even knowledge of this.
Because one of the things here, let's go straight to it. Actually, let's go to the 3640 mark. We'll talk about exactly what this is. You can start it like right there.
Now, the keys
Oh my God.
to the first ever stock tokens for OpenAI. And
you missed him taking it
not
out of the
just
briefcase.
OpenAI,
Oh yeah,
but it doesn't matter.
It's okay.
Also SpaceX. SpaceX is in here too. If you download the Robinhood EU app, which we gave you ample warning to do, you're about to figure out why we gave you that warning.
All right, pause it
I'd
real
like
fast.
to transfer these.
So first of all, this is a brilliant marketing tactic. He invites everybody in the EU to download the app first.
Right.
And now is the incentive to get people to download it because he took out these two like metal things that has a QR code and go ahead and play it.
Well, and you'll get €5 of the.
You're basically getting $5 worth of the $1 million that they've allocated for both OpenAI and SpaceX, which are currently privately held companies.
To you and give you exposure to two of the most valuable private companies in the world right now. We'll give you a week to onboard, then we're going to release all the tokens. So as long as you're a Robinhood EU customer, you'll be able to claim what we believe are the world's first OpenAI and SpaceX private stock tokens on a decentralized blockchain.
And just remember, the deadline is end of day on Monday, July 7th.
I didn't understand a word you said.
This is really exciting.
His accent is too thick. I'm
Coming
sorry.
from Johan, that means a lot. The last time this guy was excited was when Bitcoin hit $1. Okay.
Well, because here, Father,
do-
in the beginning, the guy says, I have been working in crypto for a long time, and I'm venturing into Puerto Rican here. And then he said that he sold all of his Bitcoin at $1.
Yeah.
Tragic.
That's why he calls them paper hands. And
Well, anyway, so he goes on to scan the code, and he takes... He sends $1 million worth of each of these things to the Robinhood network for it to be distributed to everybody, which is neither here nor there. But so we were trying to figure out yesterday, okay, so what does this mean? These private tokens, were they issued by SpaceX and OpenAI?
right. Originally, when I just saw the thing, I assumed that OpenAI and SpaceX had
Yeah.
struck some kind of partnership with them, and they were like, look, now we're like crowdfunding. You're a
Yeah.
part of our early investors program, blah, blah, blah. But that does not seem like
or
it's
like
the case at all.
existing investors can offload some of their shares via these tokens. Not the case. Also, it's just part of the thing with these things being privately held is there's no public disclosures on what their revenues look like, what their profits and losses look like, and so on and so forth. They are illiquid, so you can't really readily buy and sell them. So as I'm researching
Right, part of the
this,
joke is that Robinhood is providing exit liquidity for these companies. Yeah.
So I found that there is a company called Republic that, and this is, again, the genius of what Robinhood is doing. This is not unique to Robinhood. There was a company called Republic that did this 6 days ago. They launched the same exact thing.
Oh, that is funny because he said a weird thing where he was like, he had a weird caveat. He said, we're launching what I believe to be the first coin of its kind or whatever. I was like, why are you? Yeah.
And like Kraken and some of the other crypto giants are also doing this at the same time. It is funny how it all kind of happens at the same time. But in this article that I found from this other company called Republic, it said, quote, permission from SpaceX or other firms isn't necessary as the tokens represent securities sold by Republic itself. Meaning, replace Republic, which is the other company, with Robinhood. Robinhood has just like $1 million worth of these things.
Right.
They're just saying, this is SpaceX, this is OpenAI, and they are gifting it to people. Here, let's.
Oh, you don't even think it's connected?
It's not, I know it's not.
Oh,
Let's look at
'cause the
Robinhood's own
closest-
disclosure.
Because I ended up on Wall Street Bets because I was just curious what they were saying about it.
Yeah.
And this, I was like, maybe this is what it is, but maybe this is wrong. Some guy said, Robinhood owns some shares in SpaceX.
Not even.
They write an IOU, tie that to a token, a crypto coin, where they promise they'll give you that share somehow. The tokenization part lets you trade it freely. You can't trade the IOU because there are legal issues, but you can trade the token that says you get this share of SpaceX promised by Robinhood.
Loosely, yeah. So looking at their own disclosures, right under where it says offer, that second paragraph, it says, for the purposes of these terms, stock tokens are financial derivative contracts between you and Robinhood. So it's not between you and SpaceX. It's not between you and OpenAI or any other private company that they might heretofore offer. It is between you and Robinhood referencing certain stocks of private companies.
Oof, dude, this is going to be a mess.
Stock tokens do not entitle you to any right to receive the underlying private stock asset. The value of stock tokens depends on the performance of the underlying private stock asset. So in other words, if OpenAI, doesn't go up in value or goes down in value, it's the stock token value is tied to that. But again, like I said, it's illiquid.
Yeah, but also look at the limitations. Even if it does, it's all based on their own valuation. The private stock tokens reference the value of OpenAI and SpaceX private stocks, which for the purpose of this, for the purposes of the promotion, Robinhood is valuing based on its own internal valuation methodology.
So basically,
we get
I
to
love
decide.
that. Yeah, we're just kind of our own internal valuation methodology. These are private, unlisted stocks that are not actively traded, and therefore the private stock tokens are not, as of the date of the promotion, redeemable with Robinhood, nor can they be sold to Robinhood, transferred off platform, or otherwise traded unless and until Robinhood makes this functionality available. So basically, for now, you're getting $5 free that you can't do anything with. You can't
even cash it in?
Nope. Well, because it's still such a. It sounds like a scam. It's not. It is a new promotion. It's just that this is the first stage in them rolling this out. I'm sure that they will make a market for people to be able to trade these things more freely. But for now, you receive this fractional share of these private companies.
Yeah, but what if when it... Oh, okay. So maybe after the launch, you can do it.
Yeah. As of this date, they're not redeemable with Robinhood, nor can you sell them, you can't transfer them, or otherwise trade them until they make the functionality available. I also like, it says, while generally stock tokens offered by Robinhood will be backed 1-for-1 by shares of the associated stock held by Robinhood, for the purposes of the private stock tokens, as a result of the underlying private stock assets, Robinhood does not guarantee that its hedged exposure in related to the private stock tokens will be 1-for-1 against the underlying private stock assets.
Yeah, how could they?
Yeah. In any event,
they don't exist.
Yeah, in any event, private stock tokens do not give holders any right to redeem or otherwise to receive the underlying private stock asset, nor any equivalent stock or portion of Robinhood's hedged position. I'm curious how they're hedging, because their whole thing is like, we're valuing it, this $1 million, and we reserve the right to like hedge that position. How do you hedge against a fucking privately held company?
I don't know. I'm so curious. I wish it was out so we could watch it. I don't know. I'm so curious how they value it and how the change is going to be.
Yeah.
Like how you're going to see real-time fluctuation and all that. It's just, this is bizarre.
Yeah. Robinhood reserves the right to be able to redeem the private stock tokens in the future should it be required to redeem its underlying hedged position. So in other words, if their hedge against OpenAI or against SpaceX fails for whatever reason and they need to like rescind those tokens, they will. If that occurs, Robinhood will redeem the private stock tokens automatically at the price which Robinhood's underlying hedged position has been redeemed and provide this value into your Robinhood account. So, yeah. So,
have you seen any statement from SpaceX or?
Nope. I don't think they need to.
No. I'm just. Yeah. I know. I'm just curious. What they, because it seems like a pretty consequential thing, and so, but it's hard to find any. The Wall Street Bets thing is funny. Like, the top comment is just great way to trade private meme stocks at incredibly inflated market caps. It's a top comment.
Yeah.
With zero financial information on them or public earnings reports.
It's flashy, and it's a flashy way for them to say, hey, we gave you $5 for free by signing up for this app, which I'm sure they already got over 1 million, if not way, way more. It's just a very, very clever marketing thing. I wouldn't even call it a trick. It's just not, it's not as straightforward as it seems. You technically, you don't own shit. You own a token that represents a potential position in these companies.
Hey gang, we gotta take a quick break to talk to you about GOODR. GOODR sunglasses. I am a huge fan of my GOODRs. I probably have 4 pairs now.
You look so good in them.
If you want to play sports and have a sunglasses that is light on your face, is not going to slip off your face with this hot, oppressive LA sun, I can't recommend it enough. These things are killer.
They start at $25 a pair.
Yeah.
1-year warranty, 30-day free returns. Lightweight and comfortable, 100% polarized, no slip, no bounce, so many different styles to choose from. So, folks, I don't know what else there is to say.
Yeah,
okay?
I'm telling you, I wear it every time I play tennis, anytime I'm running, anytime I'm doing anything.
I mean, geez
I got
Louise.
my GOODRs on.
So, if you need a new pair of sunnies, GOODR is giving Ben and Emil Show listeners free shipping. That's right. You can go to GOODR.com, that's GOODR.com/Bays, BAES, and use code BAYS for free shipping. GOODR offers a 30-day money-back guarantee and 100% satisfaction. Again, that's GOODR.com/Bays and use code BAYS for free shipping. So on that note, they did unveil something. They did tokenize U.S. actual stocks and ETFs, and it is a real thing. And they do receive dividends. So if you are an EU customer and you buy an Apple token, basically the way that I understand it, and Vlad... we're not going to show it because it's too long, but he like writes it out on a chalkboard and it's really great. you open up the Robinhood app, and he shows a side-by-side comparison of what it looks like to buy the token versus what it looks like to buy a share. And this is what I was talking about it blockchain just suddenly being incorporated and it just works and you don't have to know why. The side-by-side of the token versus the share is the same fucking thing. It's just buying a token versus buying a share. And he said that the way that it works is you tell it like, hey, I want to buy 1 token of Apple. And behind the scenes, a broker actually purchases an actual share of Apple. I believe it's held in escrow. That might be the wrong word, but it's purchased, it's held somewhere, and then a token is minted, created out of thin air. And that digital token, it's just a representation of the share that you just bought.
But as you're describing this, I just can't help but wonder why not just buy the share?
Because there's I think it's just because it's just a loophole around all these myriad regulations.
I mean, he did talk about how they're not 24/7 yet; they're like 24/5, and they want to. I don't know. I guess it's just some bullshit loophole to be trading 24. You're describing it. I'm like. You're describing just buying a share of a fucking stock.
Basically, yeah.
except we're probably burning an incredible amount of energy to do it this time.
Well, and this is the part that kind of escapes me, is then once you've got that token, you can treat it just like any other crypto in that you can like put it onto a fucking hard drive or something. It's called self-custodying. You take it off of the blockchain or whatever, and now you can do whatever. You can collateralize it. You can use it as collateral for something else. You can whatever the hell. And then let's say you sell it, the entire process just unwinds. The token is destroyed. The stock itself is sold, and you collect the proceeds. Hopefully it was profit.
It's also, and not to speak to any whether or not it'll be successful or not, it's just incredibly hard to not have NFTs like be top of mind when you're explaining this of like,
especially when they talk about tokenizing art and stuff.
Right. It's like,
think of it like being able to, because like art is a very illiquid thing. It's not something that you and I can readily go out and buy and sell. There's not a huge liquid market for it. The way I understand it is tokenizing things solves that problem and makes it a much more liquid market to.
But NFTs were tokenized art, basically.
Yeah, but it was like they did it in the wrong way. And he talks about that. He says in this interview, there was an interview that he did after. There's a follow-up interview, and he said, right now it's time to move on from meme coins and Bitcoin and deliver fundamental utility. And I just think it's really impressive. And it's kind of like, oh my God, yes, finally someone is taking the reins and being like, we're going to make this shit actually useful. And again, it's just like the very first pitch of the very first inning, I think. And I don't think it's all going to be this gamifying and let's turn it all into fucking gambling. I just think I don't know, it's exciting. I think a little bit, because it still is kind of exhausting for me.
Just as someone who I'm like, I don't think I'm stupid, but I'm just like having a hard time. Yeah. Even when it gets fully explained, I'm going, I mean, just like we just said, I'm like, just buy a share of the stock.
Yeah. Well, they had Vitalik Buterin on. Let's just pull this up for a sec and scrub to a minute 40. I mean, you're talking about not understanding this stuff. Gee, I wonder why when it's guys like this who are doing the explaining.
Yeah. The officer at Off-Chain Labs, initial developers and core contributors to Arbitrum.
Yeah, and so
right here.
Maybe before we get started into the actual question, we wanted to ask you, maybe Vitalik, what is kind of your day-to-day now? You know, Ethereum is already live, decentralized, so what are you spending your time on?
I mean, often I find like that itself changes quite a bit month to month. I think recently, a lot of it has been thinking through the Ethereum privacy roadmap and things that the foundation will do to try to make sure that Ethereum does a better job of letting people interact with it and use it privately. So some things have already happened. There are a lot more interesting stuff to come. Also, like a lot of the time it's like research on various individual topics. Like sometimes ZK related, sometimes security related. Like sometimes application level things. Like sometimes even going into stuff like ZK.
Yeah,
identity.
wait. Okay, stop.
A
I
lot
can't.
of just Ethereum.
I
It's
mean,
cra-
the
the whole-
fact that he can't even, brother, you've been in the public eye
know.
for so long. You got to know to hold the microphone. He's just holding.
Dude,
he's
and
just holding
moving
it.
his head.
He's just holding it like right here.
I know, but he'll
Like,
look over here.
Yeah.
Well, he's
It's just like Ethereum. It's good. I like it.
I feel like the whole founder thing was such a terrible thing for these people because they had to be everything for the company. You know what I mean? They can't just. This guy should be holed up writing code, doing whatever, and just sending out some kind of PR person for Ethereum. I mean,
Dude, truly.
this guy
Give me a
has
hot.
never. I've never seen someone look less comfortable with a microphone
Yeah.
in their hand.
Just get some hot, slick guy in a suit. Get Vlad on there.
Yeah. No, Vlad, I mean, look, he's not a bad face for it. I mean, I've seen, I had watched another one of his interviews since this has happened. And I think he does like kind of a good diagnosis of why some of these new things are needed. But I found it kind of like unconvincing that this is the,
Yeah. Well,
This
because
is
that's
the
what
prescription?
business they're in.
sure.
Yeah.
But I mean, because he talks about like back in the day when companies would go public, it was maybe oftentimes a lot earlier. He talks about like how if you were maybe someone just paying attention, you could have made a fortune somewhat quickly off like Microsoft or whatever, Apple or any of these things. And now these companies go public at these huge valuations. There's no room for ordinary people to get in. And when you hear him talking about this, you're like, okay, this makes sense. But then he's like, so we're selling you a fake made up coin
Representative of a share that doesn't quite exist yet, but
and we're valuing it ourselves.
Yeah.
And if it does go public and we need it back, we might just take it. I don't know. I do. I'm like, sure, I can get with you. And he was that was when he was talking to us, the whole thing. And he still says that he came up with the democratizing finance. That's his whole thing. We want to make it for everybody. We'll see. I mean, it's a lofty goal, but I just find some of these things extremely.
And if you want to like buy OpenAI shares, there are places that are legitimate. I think Hive is one. Forge Global looks like it's another. There are secondary markets.
How much
where,
would a share? How much can you get?
I don't even know. I don't.
Is
even
it
know.
hard to find out?
But there are secondary markets it's a new thing where you can buy shares from insiders who want to divest. But again, because it's so illiquid, let's say you're an OpenAI insider and you want to fucking cash out some to pay your taxes or to buy a house or put your kid through college. There's no liquidity event like going public that enables you so you can use one of these
That's
things.
why I kind of thought they acquired some kind of stake.
Yeah.
Which honestly would have been a better idea.
What was it, a fucking porterhouse?
That would have been a better
Filet mignon?
a better and more legitimizing idea.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe they're in the process of doing that. Because, Vlad is onto something. Because currently, if you are a person in the United States and you want to invest in one of these companies, guess what? Unless you're an accredited investor, you can't. And what does it mean to be an accredited investor? An accredited investor is an individual that the U.S. Securities and Exchange Commission deems sophisticated enough to invest in unregistered securities, such as those sold by startups or private equity firms. You need to qualify. You have to have earned at least $200K in each of the past 2 years, and reasonably expect the same income this year. Your net worth has to exceed $1 million, excluding the value of your primary residence. You can also qualify if you have certain, I don't know. Anyway.
I mean, he's definitely onto something. That's the thing. I'm not trying to dunk on the guy.
We're getting
there. He's clearly very forward thinking. He's clearly changed the space, right? I mean, everyone has had to kind of follow their lead with some of these
the
trading
commissions.
features and like just the fact of having an app that you can just easily execute trades on.
Yeah.
And it's, the way they've transformed that from just being the app where you can like hit sell or whatever and you get the confetti to now having full desktop. probably becoming the like the E-Trade or Schwab for a lot of like millennial Gen Z people who just find all that like stuffy and confusing, and they've implemented the. I don't think they're quite. They're probably something akin to whatever robo investing things that some of these have, and you can just you don't have to just be trading. You can park your money there, and
I mean, dude, they're now valued at $88 billion. Schwab's valued at like 150. They're catching up. But one last thing that they're doing, they are creating their own blockchain thing. It's going to be called like Robinhood blockchain. So they are creating their own.
Right now, it's currently on
Arbitrum. Which is a layer 2 blockchain that exists on Ethereum. Meaning Ethereum has its own flaws and stuff as a layer 1. Bitcoin, Ethereum, they are layer 1. They're called layer 1 blockchain things, and they have flaws. They're slow. They're sometimes not the most secure. So a bunch of people started creating what are called layer 2 things that function with that underlying. So like Ethereum, this Arbitrum one, functionally is like the same as Ethereum, but is more optimized and more secure, and you name it. And yeah, they're trying to create their own thing that's probably a lot more fine-tuned for exactly what they're trying to do.
Yeah,
but
he's also he was talking a bit about how I think he's pretty stoked about the Trump administration, and it's going to make a lot of things easier. He was talking about how basically
fast track the hell out of things.
Yeah, the Biden administration was like always trying to put regulations in place and do all this stuff. And he said, talking with like David Sachs and all these people, they're like, he said, I think these EU things are going to be coming to America soon.
What's been interesting about them is I think in the aftermath of all the GameStop shit, they really learned their lesson and were like, okay, we got to like, if we're going to be blazing the path here, we have to work with the regulators. And that's why they've been publishing. I mean, you can go on their website. They publish papers all the time about tokenization and about regulations and things that they've suggested to the SEC and stuff. And yeah, they are pushing for these things, but they, at the same time, are encouraging the government to like have the regulations catch up and like do it the right way. And I don't know how that shit'll look, but
I'm also just so curious about, as they try to mainstream all this stuff. It's like I can't wrap my mind around how prevalent this stuff actually is. Like, we talked about it on StockTwits, the Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac being like, was it Fartcoin that you can? No.
Yeah, Fartcoin. It's now an asset that can be.
Right.
What's the matter? What's funny?
I was like, I must be misremembering, but using Fartcoin to purchase your house.
Well, no, it'd be used as collateral.
Right. But
hey, I have $200,000 in Fartcoin. It's my collateral in part that I'm putting up.
I'm just like,
for me, squeak that past you.
How often is this happening? And I am, I mean, I'm a little bit skeptical, but maybe more people are doing this. Maybe more people want to have a tokenized representation of a stock than the actual stock that I'm realizing. But I feel like even in my just day to day, if I'm talking to someone, I'm like, do you own any cryptos? They're like, I think I like bought Bitcoin once or something, and that's probably sitting somewhere and I forgot the password or whatever.
Yeah. Well, I guess we can transition just a wee bit. It's just worth mentioning real fast. Tom Lee, I make fun of him a lot. We make fun of him because he's always presented the same way. Fun strats Tom Lee says. And he's been made the chairman of this company called BitMine Immersion Technologies, and the ticker symbol is BMNR. And we've talked about MicroStrategy on here, the company that their whole business model is just buying Bitcoin. And the stock has gone up like 1,000% over the couple of years since they announced it. And Tom Lee is saying that they're now doing the same thing, but with Ethereum. So I just think that that's interesting and something to watch. And I'll put the link in the description so that y'all can watch it, because I think it's worth watching to
Ethereum-
listen to what he says. What?
So far down.
Yeah. In fact, let's just play a quick clip of it, because he's just such a...
Also, Ethereum never is going to. I mean, I never say never.
What? Well, according to Tom Lee, all these banks are going to be using it because of what Ethereum offers for, like, collateralized, all sorts of fucking garbage.
Tom Lee.
Oh, wait, I want to hear her say fund strats. Start it from over the beginning.
Joining us right now is Fundstrat's Tom Lee. He's also a CNBC contributor. And this morning, he's got some news. A Bitcoin miner.
He looks like a
Emerging
Pixar
Technologies
character.
Yeah, he does.
announcing that
He
Tom
really
will become
does. He
its
looks like the
chairman.
guy from Up mixed
Tom,
with the
welcome,
boy from
first
Up.
of all.
Yes.
And this is some big news. It's kind of complicated, but probably suffice to say that you all are doing basically what MicroStrategy did with Ether. You're going to make Ether the purchases that you buy through this. You're going to set this whole thing up like this. You want to explain a little bit?
Yeah, glad to. I'm still a big fan of Bitcoin because I think it is, digital gold. But what we've seen in the last, really in 2025, is the financial services industry and crypto are converging. And it really started with stablecoins, which is the ChatGPT of crypto, right? Because it's viral adoption by consumers, businesses, banks, and now even Visa. Underneath the stablecoin industry is Ethereum. That is really like the backbone and architecture of stablecoins. So it's important to create a project that essentially accumulates Ethereum to essentially protect and have some influence on the network. So that's why we're creating this treasury vehicle to buy Ethereum. The more Ethereum that's accumulated, the more secure the network is. And I think it's also sort of the architecture that future banks will have. When Goldman issues a stablecoin and JP Morgan doing it on Ethereum, as a layer 1 blockchain, they're going to want to secure it by staking Ethereum. So we're trying to get in front of that by creating a treasury vehicle.
Just so I understand, it's safer if you own it.
I also think that
That makes sense.
It honestly made me think about. I think I kind of understand why they want to do the tokenized stock now.
Why?
Because I think it's very similar to the stable coins, where like you're tokenizing this thing that's pegged to a currency. I think it makes a lot more sense in other countries and stuff where you can deal in stable coins without getting around this regulatory schedule and all that. I mean, I'm just totally spitballing, but Robinhood can now create this kind of like divergent market outside of a regulatory schedule that also means they get to reach people globally. If you're someone who's going to be locked out, you say, hey, come on board. Forget about the stocks. You don't even have to mess with it. We're just tokenizing everything.
But at the same time...
And we'll make it... It's 24/5 now, but we're going to make it 24/7. So it's just global. It's always going.
But at the same time, they are working with regulators to create new regulatory... my guess is that it's easier to create a new one than to change the existing regulations.
Yeah, sure. Oh,
I think.
Yeah. But I think just in the time being, they're completely... they'll be able to like completely go around anything. It's going to be their own ecosystem.
But what I liked about what Tom Lee said, Fundstrat's Tom Lee, the combination old man and the boy from Up turned into a human. He's basically a tokenized version of those two guys.
They tokenized the old guy and the little boy.
And the little boy. But
and they now offer rare Fundstrat Tom Lees.
So the way that Ethereum works is the more of it you hold, just like shares in a company, the more influence you have over what Ethereum does as an overall like network. And also the more you hold, similar to holding stock in a company that pays a dividend, you receive kickbacks from the network. And the fact that what he was saying about these stable coins that run and operate on Ethereum, that so many of these banks are going to be using and relying on, it behooves them to also take a stake in Ethereum so that they can have influence on the Ethereum network, so they can collect their network fees. And in doing so, holding all of that just reinforces the security of the network. So I just thought it was really smart that they're getting ahead of that, like he said, by starting to buy it. And Who knows, man? I'm gonna need a nap after this episode. My brain is just fucking.
They're changing the whole dang economy right in front of our eyes.
Yeah, it's a comedy.
This economy.
That's a comedy. And so, all right, let's talk about, speaking of crypto and all this garbage, Cluely. You may have seen the commercial where the kid is on a date with a cute Asian girl, and he's got the thing in front of him, and it's like helping him cheat on the date.
Yeah.
And then it backfires.
I don't hate women.
Is that what it was?
No.
Didn't she ask, like, have you read a book? And he's like, yeah. She says, name one or something.
She's like, name 3 female authors, and he's like, fuck.
Joan Didion.
Ayn Rand.
Oh, fuck. Joan Didion, Joan of Arc, and a third one. Yeah, Ayn Rand, that's good. Turns out that commercial was not at all meant to showcase what the app actually does. And I fell victim to it. I thought that that's what it was for. Their whole thing was, it started by this guy, Roy Lee, and his co-founder, and they made this video that you probably have seen or heard about where they tout its ability to help you cheat on job interviews.
Yeah, didn't we? Oh, maybe we didn't play it on here.
Oh, I don't think we could because there was copyrighted music. But so then what happened was, they were students at Columbia. These companies threatened Columbia University and basically said, hey, you got to stop these kids from encouraging people to cheat on their interviews for these companies.
But
Columbia,
they're not just interviews. They're like
technical interviews.
Yes, they're having you. It's not helping you be like, what's your greatest weakness. It's helping you kind of. They're giving you a data set, and you have to kind of solve this problem, and it's basically just telling you how to fix it. So
and this kid was saying these questions are bullshit anyway, and they're just like, they're not. So we created their software helps you do that, and it runs. It's undetectable when it runs on your computer. It doesn't. It's like only you know.
You know what I would do if I was these companies? If you want to prove your real big shots, why don't you make it detectable? Why don't you make a software that detects it?
I thought you were going to say, why don't you come into the office and take the test in person?
That's probably a better way to do it.
That's a good solve. Or show us on a chalkboard or something. I don't know.
Matt Damon style.
Matt Damon. But so then Columbia threatened this kid and said, you better cut it out or we're going to kick you out. And he said, fuck it. He published all of that online, all of that correspondence. He dropped out. And from that fanfare and like momentum from all of the press from doing that, he launches this thing. He raises $15 million from Andreessen Horowitz, and they've already made about $1 million in enterprise revenue. And I didn't realize it until I actually looked into it that what they make is actually really smart and really useful for companies.
The actual program to help you do the interviews?
Their whole marketing thing is all about like, oh, we help you cheat. And it makes it sound like, oh, fuck you guys. You're going to ruin society. You're making it so that people cheat on like technical interviews and on dates.
But also it's like everyone's cheating their way through college anyway with ChatGPT and whatever.
But what their software actually enables people to do is like they actually have on their website a couple of use cases. So like imagine meetings that you're doing online. You can respond to questions. It can give you responses to questions that are asked of you if you aren't that technically savvy. Say you're a salesperson or something. You can respond to these things on sales calls. It can recall information from earlier in these calls, and it can always just be kind of running in the background to help you respond to stuff, figure things out, and that's something that people are willing to pay for. And oh man, it's smart. But I guess their whole thing is just marketing, and their whole strategy is flooding the internet with as much content as they can about this shit. And I mean, let's just play the clip from this show that he was on, TBPN.
I want the one that makes me seem cool at dinner, though.
Nothing can help you with
the most
that.
logical thing I say on here. But the biggest societal shift in maybe human history happened about 5 years ago when TikTok surpassed YouTube in terms of like virality and usage. Mm-hmm. All of a sudden, the number of content creators stayed the same and the relative number of content being created stayed the same, whereas the quantity of content being consumed about 100x. As a result, there is this gigantic gap where there is not enough viral content for people to consume, which is why you see the same Subway Surfers overlaid on a Reddit story. You see that 100 times because there's literally not enough good content out there. For the next maybe 6 months to a year, anything you post that has the potential to go viral will go viral, which is why you see our marketing team is all influencers with viral sense. We know, we independently all have 20 ideas a day that we know will go viral. And this extrapolated out over a year will literally generate 1 billion views a month. And if you're someone who thinks 1 billion views a month is not going to convert to some money, like, bro, you're retarded, bro. Go back to school, bro.
Wander. It's a vacation home that...
He's right. He's making a good point. 1 billion views a month is going to translate to some kind of sales, which is what their strategy
Probably.
is. And also, bro, if you don't get that, bro, you're retarded, bro. Go back to school, bro.
Right. These are the next American pioneers in business.
Do you think we should put on a Polymarket bet that within 30 years, a candidate for the United States of America president is going to say retarded in one of the debates?
I'd rather bet on Polymarket whether or not we're going to have presidential candidates in 30 years. Can I make that bet? Because I think I can cash in. Also,
I could just see that, man.
The element, it's such a minor part of it, but the element of like, it's so funny, the virality thing he's talking about. I feel like it's changed so much where, I don't know, 1 billion views is so different than when we were talking about going viral, whatever it was, 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Such a different thing than like, I don't know, if you got a ton of views on TikTok, that's not necessarily in the zeitgeist. But like, if you went viral 10 or 15 years ago, it's like everything is covering it.
Oh, yeah. Well, it was a lot smaller back then.
Yeah, but it's like, it's the rapidity with which things go viral that makes, and like, what is
Charlie bit my finger.
Sure, everybody saw
it. Was everywhere.
So I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. Are you going, I don't know.
Well, that's why he's talking about,
because things go viral on TikTok.
15 minutes.
And I probably never see them.
Yeah. That's, I think, why he's emphasizing having everybody on their team as influencers who know this shit.
Sure.
Bro. But before we close out, we got to give a quick shout out to MOOMOO. Huge shout out to MOOMOO, the longest sponsor of the show and the official trading platform of the New York Mets. So if you're in New York, in the tri-state area, or even just visiting the city and going to a Mets game, you can get free tickets to Monday home games at Citi Field if you're a MOOMOO customer. So check out the link in our bio or scan the QR code on the screen. It should pop up right there to join MOOMOO and earn up to 60 free stocks and 2 Mets suite tickets to a game of your choice with a qualified deposit. Plus, you can earn 8.18% APY on your uninvested cash for 3 months. So thank you to MOOMOO and the best team in baseball. We went, and it was real fun.
We did. We saw some real homers. They were hitting dingers.
Go Mets. Also go Dodgers, but go Mets also.
Are the Dodgers good?
Dodgers are always good, man. We got Shlomo Otomo.
Hats off to Shlomo Otomo.
Shlomo Otomo. Shlomo. All right, folks. Let us know what you think in the comments. Robinhood got a big token.
Did the Robinhood get a token?
Did Robinhood make a token? I don't know.
Let us know what you're gonna. Let us know what you're gonna tokenize.
I'm gonna tokenize your ass.
Hey Vlad, tokenize this.
Tokenize
I'm just kidding.
this. Tokenize my ass, bitch.
Friend of the show. But seriously,
tokenize the toilet, man. No, you know I'd go crazy over that.
Ben has
man, I gotta move, and now I gotta get a new toilet.
Now you gotta tokenize a new toilet. I just tokenized that thing.
Man. No, because truly, my bidet is an oval shape, so I need an oval shaped toilet. And I just realized that this new apartment that I'm applying to, it's got a round one. So your boy has to go buy a new toilet from Home Depot and pay a damn plumber to come over and put in the new toilet. But then it's a brand new toilet, and brother, it don't get any better than that.
You do love knowing it's just you.
Anyway, we'll see you in the bonus. BenandMealShow.com.
Bye.